You're welcome.
Okay, Daniel 4, continue.
Okay. um, okay. Finally, Daniel came into my presence, and I told him the dream. He is called Belteshazzar, after the name of my God, and the spirit of the holy gods is in him. I said, Belteshazzar, chief of the magicians, I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you with no mystery too difficult for you. Here is my dream. Interpret it for me. These are the visions I saw while lying in bed. I looked up, and there before me stood a tree in the middle of the land. Its height was enormous. The tree grew large and strong, and on top of it, it touched the sky. It was visible to the ends of the earth. Its leaves were beautiful, and its fruit abundant, and on it was food for all. Under it, the wild animals found shelter, and the birds lived in its branches. From it, every creature was fed. In the visions I saw while lying in bed, I looked there before me was the Holy One, a messenger, coming down from heaven. He called in a loud voice, Cut down the tree and trim off its branches. Strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the animals flee from under it and the birds from its branches. But let the stump and its roots, bound with iron and bronze, remain in the ground, in the grass of the field. Let him be drenched with the dew of heaven, and let him live with the animals among the plants of the earth. Let his mind be changed from that of a man, and let him be given the mind of an animal, till 7 times pass for him.
Okay, we're in verse 17 now, everybody.
Mhm.
The decision is announced by messengers. The holy ones declare the verdict, so that the living may know that the Most High is sovereign over all kingdom on earth, and gives them to anyone he wishes, and sets over them the lowliest of people.
Okay, this one is the whole purpose of why Nebuchadnezzar had that dream. So you need to put a star or underline it or both. But God wants everybody in the whole world, everybody who's alive, right? The living, okay, that he is sovereign over the kingdoms of men. So, what does that mean for God to be sovereign over the kingdoms of men? He rules. He rules the universe. His kingdom rules over all. And in the world's current condition, as you know, the world is cursed because of sin and death. Um, God is letting us know that every world leader that exists, he put them there throughout history. Okay. He's letting Nebuchadnezzar know that. And because you have an understanding of Nebuchadnezzar, of what kind of person he was, okay, you can compare him. He's even worse than Hitler, you can even say. Okay.
Mm.
And among other world leaders that have, come and gone. They rise up and they fall. He raises them up and he puts them down. And God is letting us know and letting Nebuchadnezzar know, the one who's the highest authority in the land, he's letting him know that he's going to use this as a lesson for the whole world. And that's a lesson for all of us. So he is sovereign over the kingdom of men, and he gives them to anyone he wishes and sets them over the lowliest of men. Okay? So, um, when you understand how God operates in the world, um, you're not going to go crazy and think that, certain people, rulers, being good or evil, and not, like as if all these world events is out of God's control. No, God is in control. But you could see he gives power to anyone, he wishes. Anybody have any thoughts concerning that?
I have to ask
Okay, so this
something,
is
Pastor Bert.
sure,
Diane,
this is the lesson, and you guys have to make sure you're getting the lesson because this is important. Okay, go ahead, Diane.
I think I might get it more as we go on, you know, with the interpretation, right? Or, well, that was the interpretation. Or was that the interpretation? I'm sorry.
No, that was
Yes.
the
The way
description.
you look at it is it's a spiritual truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not an
Okay.
interpretation, it's a spiritual truth.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you. And
Right.
yesterday
Right.
and today, I started feeling, with my life, and I've told you the changes that have been coming over my life, but
Yeah.
So that makes it more confirmation for me that what he's doing to me is coming from, or what's happening to me is coming from none other than God.
Yeah, God is in control.
So God is in control of all.
Which is hard to, yeah.
And
God,
so this,
God is,
yeah, and this is why it was so profound even yesterday when you said that, because it trickles down to every little pebble or drop of water in the rain, and everything, and it's a lot.
yeah,
All I want to
Jesus
say.
said a sparrow doesn't fall to the ground without God knowing about it.
Exactly. So this is profound.
So that's why you're looking at it from
Looking at it like this.
the
Yes.
biblical
All the way
frame
from,
of reference, not
yeah,
the worldly frame of,
all the way from Trump on down.
and that's what we're trying to.
Kidding. Yeah.
Sure.
Excuse me.
It's serious. This is serious when you think
It
about
really is
who's the world
profound in this
power.
light. So thank you.
Yeah, who's the world power and who put them there, and then all the other powers of this world, who put them there. Some are good, some are bad, some are evil, but you know, you can't say God only put the good ones up there and not the evil ones. No, he put both
And
good and evil up there.
yeah, and like we're waiting for God to put somebody good in there, and then it'll be taken care of, right?
Right. That's what our heart's desires are.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's not the way God operates.
That's why this is so profound right now. And I
Yeah,
appreciate you
we need to learn this.
leaning on this. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Susie, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yes, Pastor Bert. So you're not saying that God put Donald Trump into power. You say he allows him to be in power. Or are you saying that he actually chose him to be in power?
Yeah, based on this reading, right? This isn't about what Pastor Bert says. It's what is written. So let's read it one more time.
Okay.
Go ahead and, okay, let's see. Verse 17. Okay, remember this is the angel of the Lord, or the watcher, as some refer to it, a messenger of God. Okay, it says the decision is announced. Well, who makes that decision? It's God. That's my translation in verse 17. Okay.
Yeah.
Holy ones declare the verdict, so that the living may know that the Most High
is ruler
is sovereign over the kingdoms of men.
Right.
Go ahead. The kingdoms of men, right?
Right.
So all the kingdoms of the world, right? The kingdoms of men, God is the one who chooses or decides who's going to be the leader.
So
God is the one who decides who's the leader. So if you want to,
mine says he.
if you want to,
Okay.
okay, let's look at your translation.
Mine says that the Most High is ruler over the realm of mankind, and he grants it to whomever he wishes, and he sets over it to the lowest of people.
Yeah. So he grants it. He decides.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard for me to figure out that it's God who gives power to certain people. And it shouldn't be hard for you guys either.
Amen.
Especially since you understand that when Jesus and Pilate was, Pilate was interviewing Jesus, and Pilate says to him, "You better answer me because I have the power to release you or to crucify you."
Right.
And what was Jesus' response? You guys should mark this because it's important how Jesus saw it.
Where's Daphne?
Daphne knows the answer. Right?
She knows the answer.
She keeps answering the right.
Yeah.
But Daphne, give us the answer.
You have no
Here's-
power over me, lest it was given to you from above.
Very good, Daphne. That's
Yeah, I love it.
Daphne's go-to verse.
Yep.
So Jesus, do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Understood. Pilate doesn't have power over Jesus.
Right?
It's God who gave that power to Pilate.
Because of the plan.
Well,
God, the purpose, right? And
Right.
that's why you can't say, "Oh, if only Pilate would have let Jesus go, and if only Pilate wasn't there, whatever." No, God
Nope.
put him in there.
right.
For a reason. And
Because
that's not his will for him to be
right.
released.
according
Yeah.
to right, according to his purpose for his
So
glory.
does that make sense, Susie? That God put exactly. That's why.
Yeah.
But you expand that on global scale now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Modern day, global scale. You can
Mhm.
expand it on that level because the principle doesn't change,
Right.
right?
Right.
God's always in control. He's always dictating
Yes.
who's going to be the leader for each country. So if you want to process it today with Donald Trump being the leader, well, God put him there.
Okay. Well, I understand that.
Because if you say God didn't put him there,
No, I can say God put him there. I say God allows him to be put there. Is that saying the same thing?
okay, it's the same thing. It's the
Yeah.
same thing to me. You don't have to be that technical.
Right. Okay. So that's what I'm saying, because some people would take it literal and say that God
It's the
counted out the votes.
same thing. God put. We don't have
Okay.
to say, "Oh, God allowed it." Well, if God allowed it, God put him there.
Okay.
It's not
All right.
that hard
Okay. It means the
to
same thing.
conclude.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
if you go with that approach that God allowed Pilate to be over Jesus,
He
right?
did. Yes, he
Oh,
did.
he allowed it. He also decided it.
That was part of his redemption plan.
Exactly. Among all the other world events that are going on,
Right.
Nebuchadnezzar. That's why we
Right. I
go
remember
back
that
to
story.
Nebuchadnezzar. Who put him
Right.
in power?
Right. God.
Yeah, who put Nebuchadnezzar in power?
God. According to his
Right.
glory.
Does
He
does
put him there.
Nebuchadnezzar recognize that?
Nope.
Does he acknowledge
Now he
that?
does.
Not at this point.
Not at first.
Not at first. That's why let's continue reading so that we can grasp this. Yeah, and I know this is probably hard for you to grasp. You mean God put Hitler there? God put, all these
Yeah.
world leaders up there?
Oh, yeah.
It's like if God didn't, where is God in all this? He's not anywhere. He's absent.
He's
Or,
God. He can do what he wants.
or as it is written, excuse me, or excuse me, or as it is written, he's the one who places people according to his purpose. Okay, let's continue reading, Debbie.
Hey, verse 18. This is the dream that I, Nebuchadnezzar, King Nebuchadnezzar, had. Now, Belteshazzar, tell me what it means, for none of the wise men in my kingdom can interpret it for me, but you can, because the spirit of the holy gods is in you. Daniel interprets the dream. Then Daniel, also called Belteshazzar, was greatly perplexed for a time, and his thoughts terrified him. So the king said, Belteshazzar, do not let the dream or its meaning alarm you. Belteshazzar answered, My lord, if only the dream applied to your enemies and its meaning to your adversaries. The tree you saw, which grew large and strong, with its top touching the sky, visible to the whole earth, with beautiful leaves and abundant fruit, providing food for all, giving shelter to the wild animals, and having nesting places in its branches for the birds. Your Majesty, you are the tree. You have become great and strong. Your greatness has grown until it reaches the sky, and your dominion extends to distant parts of the earth. Your Majesty saw a holy one, a messenger coming down from heaven and saying, "Cut down the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump, bound with iron and bronze, in the grass of the field, while its roots remain in the ground. Let him be drenched with the dew of heaven. Let him live with the wild animals until 7 times pass by for him." This is the interpretation, Your Majesty, and this is a decree the Most High has issued against my lord the king. You will be driven away from people, and you will live with wild animals. You will eat grass like the ox, and be drenched with dew of heaven. 7 times will pass before you until you acknowledge that the Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and gives them to anyone he wishes.
There you go. That's a repeatable.
That's repeatable.
Yeah.
See?
Got
And
it.
he's teaching this lesson to Nebuchadnezzar, and we are all witness or bystanders to what God is doing to Nebuchadnezzar.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, Nebuchadnezzar at this time was the highest power in all the land of, Babylon. So Babylon, by the way, is modern day Iraq.
Right.
So in the Middle East. But you have, the Babylonian Empire spreading, and God's going to teach him a lesson. Okay. And then you got to ask, why is God doing that? Because he wants to teach all of us a lesson. These things were written so that we can learn the scriptures, and that it says so that you could have endurance and encouragement. When you see these world events taking place, you don't go crazy. You notice he was going to be given insanity. He's going to be going crazy. And do you know what? And the way I process it, do you know why he was going crazy? Because he was fully convinced it was he himself who rose to power. It was out of his strength and his might.
Right.
And so when you think of man rising to power and you blame it on other men, and you want to get rid of certain men in power, yeah, you can go crazy. Okay. So he was going to be allowed to go crazy for 7 years, 7 times it says. Okay, go on, continue.
The command to leave the stump of the tree with its roots means that your kingdom will be restored to you when you acknowledge that heaven rules. Therefore,
There it
Your
is.
Majesty,
Did you get that? You'll come to sanity. What do you have to do in order for you to come back to sanity?
Admit that God is God. You didn't do nothing. God did it.
That
yeah,
God rules, right? That's what it
Right.
says. So when you come to that point that God is the ruler over everything, over all the kingdoms of men, and he appoints whoever he wants, when you come to that point, your sanity will come back. Okay, that's why when you're looking around you in America or wherever, and people don't like who the ruler is, they act insane. Some of them,
Oh yeah. They
go
complain.
crazy because
They
they don't believe
complain everything.
they don't believe that God is they don't believe God is in control. That's why. See, so it's like saying you're gonna go insane until you admit this, until you acknowledge, right, that God is the one who rules. Okay, verse 27.
Therefore, Your Majesty, be pleased to accept my advice. Renounce your sins by doing what is right, and your wickedness by being kind to the oppressed. It may be that then your prosperity will continue.
Okay, so this is where God judges. He judges the ruler. Okay, if you, as a ruler of the world, right, have wickedness, and you oppress people in your kingdom. And I believe that wickedness is the arrogance and pride that you as a king have. You know, you have all this pride and arrogance because you're so powerful. That kind of wickedness, among other things. Um, God was giving Nebuchadnezzar a chance to change his ways. Okay, so a leader of a country, as we process this, has an opportunity to change its ways, right? But in order for that leader to change its ways, they have to humble themselves, or else God will humble them. Okay, and some of these things can go for decades, as you know. The rulers can be there for decades, but eventually, when it's God's time, they will fall. You know, every world leader have a different system to go by, but we're picking up the principles here that if they humble themselves, God can, allow them to continue to prosper. But if they don't humble themselves, and in this case, Nebuchadnezzar wasn't going to humble himself, then God would judge him. Okay, this is just another way of seeing how God works behind the scenes. Okay, let's continue.
The dream is fulfilled. All of this happened to King Nebuchadnezzar. 12 months later, as the king was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babylon, he said, Is it not this great is this not the great Babylon that I have built as royal residency for my mighty power, by my mighty power, and for the my I have built for the royal residence by my mighty power and for the glory of my majesty.
Okay, let's look at his heart.
Yeah.
Do you see his heart was he was giving himself all the credit to all the power that he demonstrates or he displays.
Yep.
He wasn't giving credit to God, he was giving credit to himself. Look at
Yep.
all the stuff I've done.
Yeah, look what I did.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's his heart. I don't know if there were people around when he said that, but he said it, and most likely it was deep in his heart. He truly looked at the world this way. Look at all the things that I've done. Okay. Well, remember, this was a warning. This was a dream that was a warning, and now you see him violate, what was instructed to him. He violated it. He didn't humble himself. Okay, continue.
Even as the words were on his lips, a voice came down from heaven. This is what is decreed for you, King Nebuchadnezzar. Your royal authority has been taken from you. You will be driven away from people and will live with wild animals. You will eat grass like the ox. 7 times will pass by you until you acknowledge that the Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and gives them to anyone he wishes.
This is the third time, or the fourth time you can count, where God is really emphasizing this. See, it's like if I were to put it in your terms, I would be saying to all of you are going to be going crazy over all the world events.
Mm.
And you're going to do that because you don't believe God is the one who's in control or he's sovereign. And you're going to continue in this insanity until you acknowledge that it is God who puts the people in power that he chooses. See? So, in that sense, he's preventing us from going crazy.
Mm.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I don't have to go crazy over what's going on in the world events.
Right?
I know God's in control. Okay, go ahead and read.
Immediately, what had been said about Nebuchadnezzar was fulfilled. He was driven away from people and ate grass like the ox. His body was drenched with the dew of heaven until his hair grew like the feathers of an eagle, and his nails like the claws of a bird.
Wow. Mm.
Just a side note,
And
there
learning.
has been a psychological or psychiatric diagnosis concerning that. If you guys want to research it, but there is something to what was just described. Uh, there's actually a condition, psychological or psychiatric condition. So, okay, let's continue.
At the end of that time, I, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes toward heaven, and my sanity was restored.
Stop
Then I
right
praised
there.
the Most.
Did you guys get that? When will your sanity be restored concerning all the world events that's making you go crazy?
When he raised his eyes
What
Jesus' return.
when he raises his eyes towards
toward
heaven?
heaven. Yes.
Yeah.
It's saying, "Okay, God, you are in control of everything," you know.
Mhm.
And obviously, it's also saying, "I did get this power because it came from you, not because of me."
Mm-hmm.
And see, world leaders who know the Bible should acknowledge that. And if you don't, you'll be brought down, in due time. Okay, let's continue.
Then I praised the Most High. I honored and glorified him who lives forever. His dominion is eternal dominion. His kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the peoples of the earth are regarded as nothing. He does as he pleases with the powers of heaven and the powers of the earth. No one can hold back his hand or say to him, "What have you done?" At the same time, my sanity was restored, my honor and splendor returned to me for the glory of my
Pause there,
kingdom.
Debbie. Excuse me. Sorry. Let's pause there for a second. What he's acknowledging and what he's learned from this lesson is, and all the peoples on the earth are regarded as nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
They're regarded as nothing to God. Do you see how you can process all this as, thinking about world leaders, from Putin to Trump to, the Chinese leader, Xi Jinping, uh, every leader in Europe, every leader in
Mhm.
what does God say about them? They're nothing. Okay. So don't put you know, too much stock in who they are because
Mhm.
to them, they're nothing to God. And the bottom line of this phrase is that, they're nothing to God and God can do whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants with them. If he wants to take them out, he could take them out. If he wants them to stay in power, he can keep them in power. That's just God. If you look at the world, you know, leaders come and go. Sometimes they're voted out, sometimes by assassination, sometimes by revolution. I mean, there's so many ways, you know, leaders come and go. And all you can do is just step back and acknowledge that God is in control. He can do
Mhm.
whatever he wants. And we should just have an attitude of, well, with all this going on, then Lord, we just want to know what your purpose is. Okay. So we do want to know God's purpose. And just like when the Berlin Wall fell, President Reagan said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down these walls. You know what happened? All those communist countries started opening up to the gospel. Because before that, in a communist country, it was illegal to be a believer. It was illegal to believe in God. And if you started showing that you believe in God, they would throw you in jail.
Mhm.
That's what was going on with the communist countries.
Mm-hmm.
It's forbidden. It's illegal. Well, once God used Reagan to tear down those walls, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down these walls. What happened? The Christian gospel was able to spread. So I always look at it in terms of, where is the gospel being allowed to be preached and where is it forbidden? Because I'm thinking, and this is me personally, I'm thinking where it's being forbidden, God can make a way for it to eventually, reach those people. Because the
Yeah.
gospel has to be spread, right? Go into all the world. So
In
there you
Iran,
go.
Pastor, I think they're still strictly forbidden, but people are doing underground, praying.
Yeah, there's underground churches in Iran, but other places around the world where you're not allowed to minister or preach the gospel, there are underground churches.
Just like before.
There's nothing new under the sun, because when the church
Exactly.
started off, they were underground.
Exactly. That's why they had to draw the
Yeah.
fish. The
See,
fish on
so
the ground or on the wall or something.
yeah, they had a secret symbol and so forth. Yeah. See, so it just gives you an idea of how God operates. And so let's continue. Okay, go ahead.
My advisors and nobles sought me out, and I was restored to my throne and became even greater than before. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and exalt and glorify the King of heaven, because everything he does is right, and all his ways are just. And those who walk in pride, he is able to humble.
All right. As you know, we Tough Love Tuesday. Uh, pride comes before the fall. Humility comes before
Right.
honor, and that's why we learn that we should always stay humble. Don't ever let pride get to you. And this is a lesson for all of us, and that's the lesson that we learn through the story of Nebuchadnezzar and how God puts people in positions of power according to His purpose. And I think I tried to explain. When God puts a person in a position of power, you got to separate the difference between the position and the personality of the person.
Yeah.
Because when you look at Nebuchadnezzar, he had the position, but you see, his personality was, I'll cut you to pieces if you don't tell me what my dream meant, the meaning of my dream. So he can be just as brutal as any world leader, but God put him there. Now, this is good for you to start to let this sink in. Do you know there's many stories throughout the scriptures of leaders coming and going, kings coming and going? Yeah. And so if you study that, and we will probably do that, you can see how God puts one king, King Saul, in power. God took him out and said David will replace him. And then God uh, allowed David's son, Solomon, to go into power. And then when Solomon died, there becomes two kings that are now competing, and which one is the one who gets the power. And it's a very fascinating study, guys. All right, hopefully you guys are wiser for it, and keeps you in tune with what God is doing. And on that note, we got to wrap it up. Who would like to close in a prayer?